Life is so simple. I mean, you cannot believe how simple it is. Now, I want each and every one of you to sort of think. I'm going to go through a little bit of these, but you know what? Don't you find it interesting that when you find people that are good at something, whether it's sports or they're good at school or they're great at art, they sing an incredible song or they're great dancers. Uh, I could go on and on. Even people that are in their job. I used to be a mechanic. And you know what's so amazing is that everyone that's not a mechanic says to me when I was a mechanic, wow, this is so complex. There's no way in a million years that I could do what you do. And my thought was always, this is simple. A lot of people will even say, man, if you knew what I knew, I mean, I could teach a monkey. I could teach a monkey to do what I do. Now, in all seriousness, there's got to be this thing that you got to think about where how and why do we as human beings, why do we always make things so hard, difficult, and complex? It's pretty amazing. And let me share with you, I don't know why. I truly don't. You find people that are good at what they do. And when I was really, really young, my family didn't have any money at all. You know what I mean? And so I wanted money. Every time I said I would like a bicycle or I'd like something, and my mom always said, listen, we don't have money. We don't have any money at all. And so my first thought when I was really, really young is, where does money come from? Right? We always try to make this so complex. Money doesn't grow on trees. I got told in life where money isn't, it's not on trees. But no one ever told me where money was. Isn't that interesting? And so I remember, I'm very, very young. I was probably 11, 12 years old, right in there. And I remember like it was yesterday that I went out and I go, well, listen, how do I want to make money? I started asking people, I need money to buy a bike. I need money to buy a bike. Where can I get money? Then everyone started telling me the difficulties, right? Complex. Well, you're not old enough to get a job. If you get a job, your parents are going to have to sign for you. It's like you have no experience. I get to hear all these things. It's like, I don't get it. Have you ever done this? I'm sure you have. It's like, well, how in the hell can I get experience if you're not willing to give me a job? And if no one's going to give me a job, how am I ever going to get experience to work here? It always was like this, it's crazy. It's like you always can borrow money when you have money. You got all your credit card debt down. You got your home paid for. You don't owe money for anywhere. And everyone wants to give you money. But I've also been at a place where I had, all my cards were maxed out. I didn't own anything. And no one wanted to give me money. So again, simplicity. Life is so simple. So I kept asking people and I said, no, there's got to be a way for me to make money. And finally, someone said to me, you should deliver papers. And I went, really? So what do? We get up really early. They'll drop the papers off. You take the papers and go door to door, house to house and deliver papers. And they'll pay you. You collect money from the subscription and they give you a part of it. I was like, done. Next thing, I'm walking down to the Williston Herald. I grew up in Williston, North Dakota. I said, I want a paper route. And they said, listen, as long as you can get your parent to come down here with you, we can give you a paper route. Got my mom to take me down there, and now I got a paper route. And I'm going out there and doing that. Now, something really, really interesting happened because someone says things are hard, right? But as I was delivering papers, I now started to see, things around the house, right? Sometimes the garage would be open. I could see things around the house, and I would see all these broken down bicycles. I would see these broken down motorcycles and snowmobiles and go-karts and mini bikes and stuff like that. And so I started saying, hey, what are you going to do with that broken bicycle? And they're going like, I don't, you could have it. So by the time I found a few bicycles that no one wanted, I was able to use all the parts of that bicycle to make a complete one, take the good parts off the bad ones and make a good one. And then I started making other bikes from doing that. And I started selling those bikes to other kids. For the ones that didn't have money, I'd rent it to them. You know what I mean? I let them have it for a day or two. And that's where I figured out how simple things were. Now, I'm really simple. I'm dyslexic. I learned early in school that they didn't know how to diagnose that. I didn't know until I think I was 30 the difficulty that I had. And anything over like 5 or 7 letters, the letters jumble, and so with numbers. And so what I did is I just learned to do things around that. And so the story goes is that, again, we make things so complex. So I'll never forget, my uncle said to me one day, he goes, wow, did you put all those bikes together and stuff? And he goes, yeah. He said, you should be a mechanic. Mechanics get paid good money. I was like, excuse me? And then all of a sudden it was like, okay, I'll be a mechanic. And he was the one that told me, instead of getting into the oil field where a lot of my family and friends went, he said, listen, you should go to a tech school and become a mechanic. And so because I did it all day, every day, probably just like a lot of people that do things all day, every day, I have my youngest son, Kyle. He is just a computer game person, like on the, highest level. And I look at computers and I'm okay, but I look at video games and I'm going like, I just don't get it. So if someone said, listen, do you want to learn how to play this video game? Say that my son did that to me. There's a really key, interesting thing called interested. You know what I mean? Because if you're not interested in doing something, listen closely. If you're not interested in doing something, you're probably just not going to do it. See, life is very, very simple and easy. But like one of my mentors, Jim Rohn, said, it's easy to do what I do, but it's easier not to do it, right? So I wrote down some things just to share with you, because if you can make up in your mind how to make something so simple and easy that your mind and your spirit will go, I can do that. And then you actually do that, you're going to start getting wins in life. And when you get wins in life, then every area of your life, you can make gooder and gooder and gooder. Now, for those of you that don't know me, you're going, gooder's not a word. I don't care. I are a multimillionaire. I said that wrong. I've had freedom in my life and had the most incredible lifestyle. You can just Google my name. I'm not bragging. But, for 38 years, I found people that knew certain wisdoms, and I learned those wisdoms, and I basically applied them, executed them, and they've worked very, very well in my life. So, and this will work in every area. So now that when I became successful and started hanging around other successful people, we're all going like, why isn't everybody doing what we're doing? Right? So let me share something really quickly. First one, I think, is I want to put together a course called the Escape Plan, right? And what I think that people mostly want to escape from is, there's got to be a point in your life where I just had enough. I don't want to live like this anymore. So maybe you'd like to escape from misery, or escape from being lonely, or escape from being sad, escape from being angry, escape from being an overreactor, an escape from no freedom, an escape from no money, an escape from, there's so many things, every area of your life. So I'm going to share something with you, and I know that some of you will go, "It's life can't be that simple." But here's what I've found. I have found that people that make things complex are usually doing it for money. Example, I think that no one would get mad at me now. They did 38 years ago when I said getting an education, which I have one. It's a tech school education, but it's still a 2-year bachelor degree, automotive engineer. So the deal is that today people getting a going to school, 4 years, more years of school, and then getting a degree doesn't guarantee financial success and happiness, especially if you get a multi-year degree and you're already in debt. I can't imagine, I'm telling you this, I can't imagine getting a degree and going through some schooling and having tens, if not hundreds of $1,000s in debt. A dear friend of Terry and I, she's been best friends with Terry since kindergarten, Jolie Kramer. She's a nurse. She went to trade school to be a nurse. And I think it was just the last couple of years, Terry and I are in her 60s, and she finally paid off her student loan. I'm like going, you got to be kidding me. Anyway, don't understand. I can't understand that. But when you come down, let's just talk about, like, say, relationships, for instance, right? Here's the thing I know about relationships, that we live in a time, and some of you are anti-AI, I'm just going to tell you, but when we have YouTube and AI, you can go on those things and spend a little bit of time learning people's love languages, learning how to love yourself. See, it's very difficult to find love in your life and companionship in your life and a best friend, a person that you can have as a companion or your soulmate, if you don't love yourself. See, so there's these lot of little things that people go, I don't love myself. I don't like anything about me. I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I sound. I'm not that smart. I'm stupid, blah, 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 blah. Well, if you just told me all the things of why you don't love yourself, then why would somebody else? Ouch. Right? And so, hey, I had that problem when I was younger, right? I had an attitude. I was a know-it-all. I had a chip on my shoulder. I'm telling you what, I don't know if you guys can remember back in your 20s. Maybe some of you are in your 20s, and it's like, we know everything. Well, if you know everything, then why are you miserable? Why don't you have the house of your dreams? Why don't you have the automobile of your dreams? Why don't you have the relationship of your dreams? Why haven't you traveled the world? Why don't you have a connection with, the what I call the master imaginator, the creator, right? It's like, I know everything. Yeah, my life isn't great, so I just didn't want to live this way anymore. So when you look at relationships and you're not willing to do something simple, just start learning how to love yourself. Now, if you like AI, I do. My son Matthew taught me. But I can go into AI and print out, hey, anything. You can ask AI anything, right? I use ChatGPT. And before I got on here, I said, hey, give me some quotes on simplicity. Give me some quotes on complexity, right? And Richard Branson said, complexity is the enemy. Any fool can make something complicated. It is hard to make something simple. See, so, Albert Einstein said, if you can't explain who you are and what you do to somebody that's 6 years old, you don't understand it. So I could say that I'm an automotive technician, a master automotive technician from, excellent service, ASC, automotive service excellence. See, I can tell you that, but I worked on cars. See what I mean? When I tell you, hey, what do you do? I work on cars. Oh, okay. See, it's the people that are humble and can do it in simplicity that all of a sudden people go, I get it. I get it right away. So when we're talking about relationships, it's this thing that we've all heard on. You should work more on yourself than anything else. And then there's these people that, again, simplicity is people that I don't believe in that jumbo mumbo personal development stuff. Hey, I'm delusional. Did you hear me? I'm delusional in self confidence and self belief. When I was young and even today, I believe that I can do anything that I set my mind to. Why? I know how to ask for help. Wasn't easy. Someone told me asking for help made you weak. You're asking for help. It's like it's embarrassing. It's humiliating. So, I don't know where I got all that BS. But as soon as I got to a place where I could ask for help, then I seeked out people that already did and already was what I wanted to become. Bam. Now, wait a minute. Did you just hear me? So maybe there's things that you don't like, right? But if you could figure out something that you want, again, Mark Twain said this one, and I love this one. I can help you get anything you want in life. I know I can. But the majority of the people in the world, like 97%, according to the IRS, 97% of the people do not know what they want. They can really give you a great descriptions on things that they don't want. And again, thoughts on things that you don't want. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck. I don't want to be lonely. I don't want to be depressed. See, that's focusing on the opposite. I used to do that all the time. I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like the government. I don't like taxes. I don't like these people. I don't like that. Why does this got to happen? And so all that energy and throwing out to no solution. When someone said, what do you do? Well, what if I want to make extra money? How could I make extra money? What would I love? See, all of a sudden what you do is you say, you know what I hate? Just change that to what would I love? What would I love? I would love to do the things I love to do with the people that I love the most. What else would I love? I'd love to travel the world. What else would you love to do? I love helping other people and giving money to orphans, because I was an orphan for a while in foster homes. And it's like, what else would you love? See, it's like all of a sudden you go, well, this is what I would love. Even if I love a puppy. See, it's funny that we can come up with little tiny things and we can seem to find a way to get those. I would love, and then we sort of go in an imagination state, and then those turn into feelings. Again, life is super simple. So once you work on yourself and you really wanted to know what you wanted, what you truly wanted in a partner, a significant other, what you would like for a partner, then you can start playing with the minds instead of saying, I can't find anybody. Dating sites. I've been on dates before and they didn't go good. And I've been in relationships before and I got hurt and I got cheated on. And it's like that stops us from getting it. So now what we could do is I'd say, well, listen, this is the kind of person I would like. I would love to have a person like this. I would love to do things like this with that person. I would love to do this. And you start thinking about the possibilities. And then all of a sudden it's like, where could I find someone like that? Where could I find someone that likes these things, right? I'm a big NASCAR fan. And it's not by accident that the wives of NASCAR drivers are usually from other NASCAR families. Interesting, right? That a lot of people will, I moved to Billings, Montana. My wife, Terry, of 40 years, is got an anniversary coming up in August. We're going to go to Mexico. But it's like, I found someone in a local area. I was, swimming in the pool with my son and met her roommate, Jolie. She introduced me, right? Okay. So at that point in time, I wasn't interested and I wasn't looking for a relationship. I know you've never heard this, right? This thing is like, Well, you attract somebody and you find someone when you're not looking for them. Because you finally get to a place where you love yourself and you say, I'm okay. So, how could you build relationships and other? Like some of you might have lost relationships. And it's like you start wanting to go, well, listen, maybe I lost relationships because I'm away, and the way that I'm around these people do not make them feel good. So, see, a lot of people are very judgmental, very critical, very know it alls. You know what I mean? And they're very opinionated. And they're like, well, I don't need any friends, and I don't care if my family doesn't want to be around me. Then you probably need to stop complaining that you're lonely. Hey, I'm laughing with you, not at you. A lot of these places I came from, right? So then if you look at other things, like let me just jump to physical, right? It's amazing. I've been on 30-day fasts. Now, I love doing them because it does so much wonderful things for my body, but I still seem to go back to what I love, right? I need to learn and will learn to love to do physical activities. And I need to also learn to love not eating the things that I love to eat, right? I spent a lot of time, way too much time, in front of my laptop building my little empire and trying to make impact on millions and millions of people. So I love it. I enjoy it, right? And so I can do both. See, I did a video on the other day about you can look for it, but I was like, why can't we? Where people lie to us. And it's like, well, you can make a lot of money or you can be healthy. No, you can be healthy. You can have great relationships. You also can be physically fit. You also can be financially set, right? So since I brought that up, but when you really think about getting fit, we all know that it's move your butt, get some exercise, drink plenty of water, and also build your nutrition. It's not how much you eat, it's how much vitamins and omegas and electrolytes. So, when I went on a 30-day fast, I learned right away the things that my body needed. I know people that, well, not know them personally, but if all of a sudden you get in an accident or something happens to you and you're in a coma and you've been in a coma for a long time, just like a small baby being born, they know how to feed you the nutrients that your body needs. You're not eating, right? You got a feeding tube. And so, again, we make it complex, right? So when people say, well, I don't know how much to exercise, when to exercise, what kind of exercise, what to eat, what not to eat, when's the best time to eat. See, we immediately make it so complex that we then say, I'm not willing to live that lifestyle. So now the physical's out. So then when we talk about, mental, right? Our mental mind, what are we doing to grow? You don't have to tell grass to grow. You don't have to tell trees to grow. You don't have to tell babies and animals to grow. We all have in our creation, our DNA. In our DNA, there's this thing that wants to grow. In the Science of Getting Rich, which on my YouTube channel, Robert Hollis, just go to youtube.com/Robert Hollis. And there's one of my favorite all-time books in there is The Science of Getting Rich. And Wallace Waddles said, really, what we really want in life as human beings, because people say they don't know what they want, is we just want to be a little better than we were before. We just want to see progress. I like to make a little bit of money. We'll get there in a second. I'd like to be a little more physically fit. I'd like a really loving a relationship. I'd love to be, a little sharper than a lot of people. It's always fun to play chess with people and beat them, except for Josh Wagel. But it's neat to know a little bit or a lot about a lot of things, right? So I'm always learning. I'm addicted to learning. 100% obsessed with learning, right? So on the mental side, it's like, what am I doing each and every day, or what could I do each and every day? Is something that I could learn, like maybe to dance, or maybe if you wanted to learn a different language, you know, or I want to be prepared for the future. I will not be left behind. So when computers came out, I had one before everybody. And when online came out, I was doing stuff online before a majority of the people that I know. And still, I look at people that do what I do, which is build very large sales groups that companies want to work with me because I can do millions and millions and millions of volume in a month. And I get paid very well for it. So there's not a lot of people out there that know how to find people that want it all and want it now, and then show them the simple things that a person needs to do each and every day to build influence, to build an organization or a group of hundreds of thousands of people and millions of followers. So it's like, hey, that's something that my mentor taught me. And he just said, hey, Robert, wouldn't you like to have 30,000 people in your group, and every time they bought something, you got paid? And I went, that sounds pretty interesting. Especially after you showed me a check for $62,000, right? And so that's one of the things that's very, very unique. So, we talked about, your relationships and mental and physical a little bit, because when you really break it down, it's really simple. And if you can break it down even more, it's an exercise called reduce to the ridiculous, right? So if I said to you, can you drink this shot glass of water? It's like, that's stupid. Of course I can. Okay, here's a shot. Bang. All right. Can you walk from here to the car? Yeah. Bang. See what I mean? It's like, well, can you eat, this small amount of food? Yeah. Can I do it more than once? But when you really break it down again, it's so simple. So, here's another one. When you're trying to figure out this connection that you have with a higher power, there's still a group of people out there that I find very humorous that, and I'll even bring it up. I'll say it right now because I've had it in my heart and in my mind for a while, right? So, there's this game out there, if you probably want to YouTube it for those of you, but it's called Let's Make a Deal. I even remember the host, Monty Hall, right? And what people do is they would dress up in costumes and go on this show. And then what they would do is they would get picked and they'd go, do you want what's behind door number 1 or door number 2? Or door number 3, right? And then a person could, trade for stuff before they got the door. And I've never ever seen anybody that said, listen, you can have behind what's all 3 doors. And they go, I don't want any of that. What? No, I'm not doing it. So that's how I look at being open-minded to something greater than us. See, you got these people that think either or, right? I'm either believing in it or I'm not believing it. But if I'm this religion, then I'm not this religion. See, it's always I'm doing this, whether it's Republican or Democrat or independent or libertarian. They do that same thing with belief, right? I'm an atheist. I'm agnostic. I'm a Catholic. I'm a Baptist. I'm a Protestant. Protestant. I'm Scientology. I'm Latter-day Saints, right? I'm Jewish. It's like people pick, and then for whatever reason, they then feel that's too complex. Hey, I'm just throwing something out there. But once you get clicked into a belief, do you find it? You always run into these people. I do. All right. And I'll say, I don't know how religion will come up. And then they're saying, well, I'm not a practicing whatever. I'm not a practicing Mormon. I'm not a practicing Jehovah Witness. I'm not a practicing Seventh Day Adventist. It's interesting, right? And so why do I think that is? This is just my opinion. Simplicity. It's they all of a sudden hear a bunch of stuff and it's like just too much. I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to show up here. I got to do that. I got to do this. And so really mentally simplicity, they just go, well, I'm just not going to do that. But if there was a thought that you could actually have a better connection and have better things in your life, if you just thought of the possibilities that there is something out there. See, I'm going to say a bold statement for me personally. I think it takes more belief and what was that word? I think it takes more hallucination and more imagination to think that I'm stardust. That everything around me, my incredible wife, my sons, my grandchildren, my really good friends, the things that have happened to me in life, I could go on and all the things that I've experienced in my life that I just wish each and every person could experience. My life's way, way better than my imagination ever was. And now it keeps getting gooder and gooder. And it's very simplistic for me. And so for me to think I'm a speck of dust, or that I actually am, conspiring. I probably have never said that. I'm actually conspiring, or even crazier yet, that there's this giant, vast universe that's actually helping me. Wow, that this imagination thing that I have. So let me share with you, for those that would like a little more of that, is I would just find something in your life that you say, okay, I believe in that. And that word for me, believe it or not, is love. Love. I've told my sons, listen, when it happens to you, you're not going to logically be able to understand it. When you see people that sometimes treats animals better than the way they would treat people, see, that's unconditional love. Just a sideline, I heard someone say, and for those that are cats, I get you, but someone said you spell dog backwards. And that's sort of an example of unconditional love on how we're supposed to treat each other, right? And some people go, that's dumb. Well, I'm not here to convince you on anything. I'm here to say that most people that I know, that I can tell they don't have a connection. So what would be the simplicity of finding out what you truly believe? You see, you're unique. You have your own DNA. No one's got your DNA. No one's had your DNA before you or after you, right? And because of your uniqueness, I believe that your connection, that love is an energy. And I think that you should really, really research for yourself what that connection is for you. Instead of allowing other people tell you what it should be, I think you should spend some time every single day contemplating about it. I would love never to feel alone. I would love to have a lot of joy in my life. I'd love to have a lot of love in my life. I would love to have a lot of friends in my life. I would love to have an incredible relationship with other people. I would love an abundance of love that I could give to others that need it. Other children that have never ever been told on a day-to-day basis that they're loved. So I, through a lot of bad experiences in my life, learned that I could get love for that connection because I don't feel alone. And because I'd rather be a co-pilot than a pilot, I'm really good at being a co-pilot, at putting my imagination out there and then allowing the creation to actually happen in my life. I didn't get here in one day, but it's my imagination, hallucination, my delusion that I want a closer and more intimate connection with that infinite wisdom, that infinite intelligence. You know, it was Albert Einstein that said, you know, there's nothing destroyed or created, that everything is here. What? Yeah, everything's already here. You just have to get to the right vibration and frequency to bring it into your life. I'm like, I can remember like yesterday hearing that. What? Because my ego was going, I built that race car. I built that race car. I created that race car. I worked the hours as a mechanic on other people's cars to get paid the money to create that race car. It's funny, man, when you're like, I did it, you know? It's like, I had a conversation with my son. I think you guys will love this. It's like, here's a conversation from two robots. Listen to this. So a robot with AI, super intelligence, builds another robot. And he turns it on. And the robot wakes up and goes, who are you? Oh, I'm the robot that created you. I created myself. Huh? I have no knowledge of you. You turned me on and you're this there. No, listen. I was programmed to create you. Nah. It was by accident. I did it myself. Can you see two robots having that conversation in the future? It's like, no, no one created me. I'm just here. All right. So anyway, life is simple. We try to complex it. So if we look at, you know, our physical, our mental, our spiritual, our finances, our relationships. Let me talk about money really quick. When you hang around the right people, they will shift paradigms in your mind. I remember, sorry, my nose is itching. But a paradigm is, at one time, I disliked and wouldn't have anything to do with sushi. Then I had the right person educate me. And he didn't force it or try to guilt trip me or peer pressure me. It was just me and him that went. And he actually started educating me, and I started testing out things. And I liked it. And now I love sushi. So going from, I won't touch it because of the people and the opinions and the environment that I grew up around. Say, I don't know where I got that opinion. It's raw fish. It's got bacteria in it. It's got worms in it. You're going to die. Okay. And then I get around somebody else that's got a little different opinion in a different environment. Well, interesting. Do you personally know of anybody or yourself used to have a belief and a conviction about something, and now it's a total polar opposite? I know people that told me they'd never get married. They'd never have kids. Things change, right? And so, you know, again, side note, when you hear all these people that look at somebody and they go, listen, you're a politician and you had a different opinion, you know, when you were younger, or you're an athlete and you said this thing on Twitter. I'm going like, what the hell is wrong with people? Anyway, I'll just leave that right there, right? So anyway, I get hurt on the job and I'm on workman's comp and I'm behind in my rent. I'm behind in my car payments. I don't have electricity. My life could not have been worse. And I asked for help, and all of a sudden I get exposed to, you know, things like the science of getting rich and also the greatest miracle in the world. And the first person that exposed me to some of this stuff was a multi-billionaire that I worked for named Roger Penske. And he goes, Robert, where does money come from? I was going like, what are you talking about? He goes, where does money come from? I go, I don't know, the bank. I guess the money comes from the bank. And he goes, no, Robert, money comes from people. People give the money to the bank. Money comes from people. I go, okay. He even joked and said, have you ever seen a dog with a wallet? And I was like, no. Okay. Then he said this next part really got me. And he goes, so when your leg gets healed, what are you going to do? I said, I need to get a job. I don't, if I could find something to do for a job right now, I would do that and then maybe go back to being a mechanic once my leg is healed. And he said, so why would you go to get a job? And I said, I'd get a job because I need money. He goes, really? And I'm going like, what are you trying to do with me? I don't get this. You're asking me stupid questions. I actually, had an attitude and was a little mad, playing victimhood and, blame game and all this neat stuff. And it was everyone's fault but mine. Yeah, I guarantee you it was not my fault of my situation, conditions, environments. It was definitely somebody else's fault. But what ended up happening is he's going, do you believe, just gave me a possibility, say people that help people switch paradigms, you just give them a little thought, right? And you go like, what if there was an escape plan to not be lonely, depressed, financially struggling, under bad physical conditions, mental illness? What if there was really an escape plan from that? And so, because we're talking about money, he goes, do you think that there's people out there that make money every day and they don't have a job? And I go, yeah, you. And he goes, okay, so I own a company, right? Why can't you? Not smart enough, didn't go to school, don't have any money. We all know the truth, right? The truth, the complicated truth. You have to have money to make money. Bullshit. Not true. But I believed it. I don't have any money. I'm broke. I'm not smart. I'm not going to be a salesperson. That's for damn sure. I don't like salespeople. And it was like, I was just so shut off that I knew everything, but I didn't know nothing. I truly don't know anything. And now that I'm 63, I feel like I know less than I ever have. I have more questions now. And me and my sons always have, little talks and debates about stuff. And they just get sort of, perturbed with me or upset because I just go, I know I don't know. And I know that you don't know. See, I know you listen to a lot of people that think they know. And that's why you believe what you believe, but you never took the time to research and say, how do I know this? How do I know that? You never look at anybody, go, how do you know that? How do you know that? It's like, how is that working? People is always telling me, hey, I'm doing this, this, and this. And I'm like, how is that working? They're like, well, it's not, right? So going back to money, he said, so there's people out there that make money that don't have a job. He goes, there's just people that all they do is just make money. He goes, if you really thought that happiness and joy and freedom comes from money, then why not just learn to make money? I thought this guy was out of his frickin' mind. And I was going like, I don't understand. So that's what the individual that told me about the science of getting rich. And I started reading through that book, and it's like, opportunity is not monopolized, and that, there's wealthy people all over the world. And then I found out, there's people that are successful that are dyslexic and have learning disabilities. And then I found out people that were also very, very successful that didn't go through school. Henry Ford couldn't read or write. couldn't read or write, and didn't have anything with mathematics. One of the world's first billionaires, Ford Motor Company. So all of a sudden I started finding this stuff out because the things that I thought, the very complex things that I thought were not so. So that's where I came up with that phrase. If what you know, that you know, that you know, that you'd fight for, die for. If what you know that you know wasn't so, wasn't true, when would you like to know? Because when I tell people that, they go, well, I'd like to know right now. And then I start giving them the wisdom that I have found. And they're like, nah, that's not true. Well, it is. No, it's way more complicated than that. It's going to take forever for me to learn this stuff. You don't have to learn anything. No, wait, Robert. You got to have skills. You got to learn skills to make money. Who told you that? Because I can show you people right now that make more money than you that don't have skills. Well, it's going to take a long time. That's not true either. Robert, it's got to take time. Who told you that? See, so when I finally opened up my mind to the possibilities and met someone that was making $62,000 a month, and he showed me his check, uncashed, attached to the stub, and then he showed me testimonials of people that he helped make over $10,000 their very first month. And there were people that were waitresses and preschool teachers and people that worked in drilling holes in the ground for, water wells, and people that sold pagers and pots and pans. And he was showing me all these people, and they're going, see, I showed her, I showed her, I showed him, I showed him, I showed her, and I'll show you the simple things. If you do the simple things, it works every single time, not some of the time. And I believed in him. I did what he told me. He got me in this high state of imagination that made me enthusiastic. And I went out and started just simply asking people if they knew of anyone that wanted to make 6 figures a year. And every one of them would say, what is this? And I go, why, are you interested? Well, I don't know what it is. And I go, great, let me set up a time and an appointment for you to watch this video of the guy that's teaching me. Yeah, I used to go to people's homes and show them a VHS tape. So when I got my first check 38 years ago of $10,200, and since then made millions and millions and millions, and since then helped other people like make millions and millions and millions, even hundreds of millions. It's like there's still this group out there going like, wow, I don't believe in that. And that's too complex, and I can't learn that stuff, and I don't want to learn that stuff, and it'll take me forever. And that's when I realized, again, simplicity. Simplicity very simply means that if you went on Google or AI and said, according to the IRS, how many people make 100,000 plus a year? And then when you find out that it's less than 2 in 10, yeah, like 18% or something like that. What makes the difference between the people that make 6 figures and people that don't? Their thinking, their imagination. No, it's not their degree. No, it's not their skills. And get this, to go from 100,000 to 500,000 just takes more imagination. To go from 500,000 to $1 million a year is just more imagination. It's actually, here's a couple of phrases I'll get you to think about. When I heard that the day that you find something that you would do for free, that builds your creation and imagination and gives you an incredible amount of joy and peace, you'll never work another day in your life. I don't like working. This video is not work for me. I love doing videos. I love helping people. I love helping people get pops, points of passion, the aha moment. Oh my God, I never thought of that. I love getting people those that are ready. You know, when the student's ready, the teacher appears. And that's why I'm doing these videos. I know, because I've been doing this forever, that this will run across that individual going, what if he's right? Well, what if he's right that this is just really simple? Are you, like a lot of people, tired of seeing people like me make money on YouTube? People make money on TikTok. People make money on Instagram. People make money and they don't have a job. Wow. Count me in. So as soon as I started doing things that I love, and then I started actually going out there. So what do? I research and find information. I call it wisdom. And then I take those books and things with wisdom, and then I share them with people. And when I find the right people at the right time, like me, I was the right person at the right time. And I got obsessed that I wanted to learn this stuff. That's the people we're looking for. Not the people that just believed I just did this video and everything that I said is not true. It can't be that simple. Henry Ford said it best. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. That's how simple. So I believe in you. I totally believe in you, even though you don't know me. And I know in my mind that you can do anything you want. And I'd love to help you get it. I'd love to show you how to do it. And I put videos up all the time. I'm the kind of person, when I find someone that has the knowledge for me, you know, I'm obsessed on how fast and quick I go through their information. And then most people just don't. Most people just the next day, they just go back to the same loop they already developed, watch the video called algorithm, and they just keep getting mad at themselves, and they get guilt and shame, and they get all these things, procrastination, you know, and they beat themselves up and say bad things about themselves, and they just keep staying in this loop, and some of them stay in there until they're gone. And hopefully this video found you at the right time. And again, if you need help, just reach out to me and I'll do my best to steer you every direction that you need to go. I believe in you. I love and appreciate you. Thank you for watching this video. Please share it with other people if you think it'll help them. And if no one's giving you permission to succeed in life, let me be the first. My mentors believed in me. They told me I can do it. And I want to tell you that you can do it. I give you permission to have joy in your life, not be alone. Be at peace. Have love in your life. Have loving relationships in your life. Have freedom. Never have anyone ever tell you what you got to do at a certain amount of time. Do things that you love and you can afford them with the people that you love. To be connected. You know, be guided. Have someone guide your way. Bring things to you. So I love you. If it will happen for me, it'll happen for you. So take care. I love you. God bless. See you soon.